Hello, and welcome to the Advanced CESS Workshop, Section 4, CESS Pipeline Assemblies. In this session, we'll simulate an actual project estimate where we will take off 5 sections of new sewer line represented in this plan view. The dots on the plan represent manholes, with the distances between the manholes equating to what we will learn as an assembly pass. Previously, you've launched an assembly and you've made a single pass, one set of variables. You've clicked the Add Pass button and then closed your assembly. In this activity, we'll introduce the pass concept, and within the single instance of the assembly, we'll make 5 distinct passes measuring the distance from manhole to manhole to complete the pipeline costing. The manhole points are represented by station indicators, STA as station. We'll add that attribute to each pass in the Pass Notes field. Additionally, we'll learn to substitute item, we'll review a material list, apply waste, and adjust material pricing. We'll also create a one-time add-on. We will modify our takeoff by using the Review Assembly feature. This allows you to make changes to your takeoff without having to redo every pass. We'll prepare a Bill of Materials report and learn to export to Excel and an Adobe PDF file.
File Explorer, Estimates.
Activity 1. Add the first 2 sections of sewer pipe. We'll start by creating an estimate. Find your region, your park, the other folder, the CESS Workshop folder, and your username.
Opens folder.
Right-click, navigate to New, Estimate.
New estimate box opens. Text. Enter the file name for the new estimate.
File name will be 12345 pipe.
Types title in text box.
Continue filling in the required fields. You can follow the red asterisks in the list here and make sure you've populated every field with a yellow background as we've done before.
In the status field, chooses working from the drop-down. In the estimator field, selects M. Kendall. On the left side, clicks Cover Page Headings. On line 1, types 12345-pipe. In left menu, clicks Job Classification. 6 lines are highlighted yellow. Next to location number, he types 12345. For park alpha code, types AKRO. For work order type, chooses Unknown from the drop-down. For database, chooses from the drop-down CESS Data 16. Next to pricing date, selects January 1, 2016 from the drop-down. On site number, he selects P115. Moves the cursor over a checkbox in the lower left corner of New Estimate box.
Verify your Open Estimate checkbox is checked. Click Finish.
Box is already check-marked. Clicks Finish on the lower right. A progress bar appears with the text, "Please wait, creating invoice, 1 moment please." Spreadsheet opens.
Launch Assembly Takeoff.
From top ribbon menu,
We'll navigate to the sewer assemblies using the jump feature. Click once to get focus. Type a capital G followed by 3020.
On the upper left pane of the 3-pane page, a highlighted line moves to G3020.
Double-click to open the sanitary sewer assemblies and find N200, Piping, Drainage, and Sewage, Polyvinyl Chloride. Now we're looking to do a cast iron sewer system, and you'll note that we don't have a cast iron assembly. That's perfectly fine. We can run the polyvinyl chloride assembly we need to trench and backfill, install the pipe, and later we can substitute the cast iron for the polyvinyl chloride. Double-click to launch the assembly, and for the next several activities, don't click OK and don't close your assembly. Stay in the assembly and we'll make multiple passes to take off the 5 sections of sewer line.
Moves to the upper right pane.
In our first pass, we'll use a quantity of 1 for one sewer line and a pipe length of 402.6. Pipe diameter will be 6 and will be 6 throughout our assembly passes. The soil multiplier will be 2. The trench depth, however, will vary on specific passes. So make sure you get your trench depth correct, as this is the field we're going to concentrate on during the review assembly feature. Miles to export will be consistent at 12. And we'll leave the extra labor at no. When you've got the variables in here, click the purple plus, the Add Pass button once, and note that your pass number 1 is date and timestamp. CESS has then moved you down to the new pass and incremented the variable pane, telling you here that it's ready to do pass number 2. The second pass will be 223.1 with a trench depth of 5. Notice CESS remembers your previous entries. You don't have to change them again or enter them again. You just change the ones that are different for this particular section of sewer. Type a 5 here.
Trench depth.
And click the Add Pass button.
Purple plus sign.
Notice that now pass 2 is logged here as a date and time. CESS is ready to do the next pass. The variable pane is set up to do pass number 3. Keep the assembly open, pause the recording, and perform activity 1. Activity 2. Add pass notes.
Upper left pane.
Click on pass number 1. Note that the variable values return to your entries from pass number 1.
Upper right pane.
Then click the Pass Notes button, the paperclip. The paperclip is a universal symbol throughout CESS indicating notes. Pass notes only appear in assembly takeoff. They do not appear in your spreadsheet.
Left of purple plus sign.
Click the paperclip and add this note.
Note box opens.
We're working on sheet 8. And pass number 1 is the distance from the station, STA, 35 plus 67.42 to the next manhole, which is station STA 3970.02.
Highlights text.
Now, to save a bit of typing, I'll go ahead and copy that text so I don't have to retype it each time. I'll click OK and move down to pass number 2. You have to have focus on the pass that you want to put the pass note on. I'll click Pass Notes again. I'll paste, and my ending station from pass 1 is my starting station in pass 2.
Deletes the beginning of the note and shifts down the text. Adds the ending station.
The ending station for pass 2 is 42 plus 03.12. Click OK. Your pass notes are here. If you right-click on the assembly name, you can view Pass Audit. And note that each of your passes are being recorded in the audit trail. If you hover on the paperclip, you'll see your pass note.
Closes Pass Audit Box.
Now this provides great documentation when you're asked, where did you get your quantity? How did you know it was 402 feet? you've got a note here documenting where those quantities came from. Keep the assembly open, pause the recording, perform Activity 2 in the Advanced CESS Workshop Manual. Activity 3. Add the remaining pipe sections.
Upper left pane.
Click on New Pass. Note that your variable pane is set to do pass number 3. The pass 3 section is 250.3. A trench depth of 5 remains. Click the Add Pass button. The status bar is showing a cum, a total cost of all 3 passes, a total lineal footage of all 3 passes, and then an average cost of the 3 passes per lineal foot.
Bottom of page.
We'll add pass 4, 151.9, change the depth to 6, click Add Pass. Pass 5 is 161.92. Keep the depth of 6. Click the plus. Now we'll add the pass notes, starting with pass 3. Return and click on pass 3. Again, note that the assembly variables return to the values for pass 3. Click pass notes and enter, however you wish, your stations.
Highlights 39 plus 70.02 plus. Updates note to read sheet 8-STA42 plus 03.12 to STA44 plus 53.42. He highlights the note to copy, then presses OK.
Pass 4 note.
In the upper left pane selects pass 4, then clicks the paper clip. The notes for pass 4 box appears. He pastes in the same note from pass 3 and deletes the first numbers. He adds in the new numbers so it reads sheet 8-STA44 plus 53.42 to STA46.05.22. Highlights text.
And pass 5 note.
Selects pass 5 from the upper left pane. Clicks paper clip. Note for pass 5 box opens. Updates the text to read sheet 8-STA46.05.22 to STA47.93.51. Clicks OK.
Pause the recording and perform Section 4, Activity 3 in the Advanced CESS Workshop Manual. Activity 4. Reviewing the pass audit. Right-click, select View Pass Audit, and note that your 5 passes with notes are listed here. You have a print icon.
Upper left.
You can print the quantities if you choose. You can also switch the axis view. Now these quantities will be stored here in the audit trail for the life of the estimate. Click Close. Return to your assembly. Check your total cost and verify that your cost per foot seems reasonable for your project. Note the total lineal footage of all 5 sections of pipe.
Along bottom of page.
Click OK to accept and click Close to return to the spreadsheet.
Spreadsheet opens.
Pause the recording and perform Section 4, Activity 4 in the Advanced CESS Workshop Manual. Activity 5. Substitute item. Let's right-click on the last item in our spreadsheet, our polyvinyl chloride pipe, and choose Detail Window.
Detail window opens.
Make a note of the productivity and the unit price of the material.
3.920.
Remember that our sewer system is to be built with cast iron pipe. We took advantage of the CESS assembly to get our excavation and backfill items in, and we're now going to swap or substitute the polyvinyl chloride for the cast iron item that we like. We'll right-click on the polyvinyl chloride pipe and choose Substitute Item. The Substitute command opens the database and gives you focus on the item you just launched from in your spreadsheet, in our case the polyvinyl chloride. We're going to scroll up and find our cast iron pipe phase 1313. We'll double click to open, and we'll look for our 2028 item, 8-inch diameter. We're also going to swap 6-inch for 8 and plastic for cast iron. Select the item, click OK. Note how the new item now is in your spreadsheet with the same lineal footage from your assembly results, but the productivity has changed and the price has changed.
47.500.
Pause the recording and perform Section 4, Activity 5 in the Advanced CESS Workshop Manual. Activity 6. Adjust material amounts. Modify the spreadsheet layout to show the material cost per unit, the material price column, and the material amount. I'll right-click and lock the quantity column, shrink my description a bit, and then scroll. I have material price, I have material amount, but I also want to show the material cost per unit. I'll go to Spreadsheet Layout. I should be on the Current System Layout, Current Layout, and I click Edit. Vertically scroll down, you'll find Material Cost per Unit, and you'll also want to click the Cost Unit box. I'd increase the width, let's make it 10. We won't save the layout today, just click OK. Click OK again here, and notice that your cost per unit is returned here along with the material price. Now notice the cost per unit and material price are the same at the moment. Click on the material price and type 40. We're going to change the price to $40 a lineal foot. And notice, because there's no waste factor, the cost per unit and the material price are the same. If we go to our detail window, add a 10% waste factor, and then apply the waste to the material cost category, you'll see that the order quantities increased by 10%. There's our takeoff quantity, there's our order quantity, and even though the price remains $40 a lineal foot, the cost per unit is increased by 10%, $4, because cost per unit, as you remember, is derived by using the original takeoff quantity dividing into the total material amount, and it generates a cost per unit, a cost per takeoff unit. The quantity of pipe that we're ordering has been increased by 10%. Therefore, the unit price, the unit cost of material based on the takeoff quantity now shows higher than the cost of the price of pipe. I'll return waste to 0 for the activity.
Closes window.
We'll now use another feature to adjust pricing for the entire estimate. We only have two material items, the bedding of the trench and the cost of the pipe. But to change all the material costs in your estimate, you can right-click on the material price column and choose Adjust Column. The main driver of Adjust Column is the adjustment type, and here you can choose to adjust by percentage, you can multiply, you can divide, You can replace the pricing or you can add money to all the individual pricing. We're going to stay with percent. And we're going to increase our percent by 35. You type in whole numbers here. CESS will take 35 and make it 35%. When you click OK, prices are increased and a red triangle will appear over each adjusted price, and a hover tip will show you the adjusted percentage and the original price. Now, adjust column has an undo. If you choose, you can right click, choose adjust column again. You can continue to adjust, or you can choose undo. The red triangles do not print on reports. Pause the recording and perform Section 4, Activity 6 in the Advanced CESS Workshop Manual. Activity 7. Use add-ons to adjust material prices. We'll continue to make adjustments to material in our spreadsheet, this time exploring the feature set known as add-ons. Verify again that you're sequenced by phase item, and note the phase numbers here, particularly 3331.1313. We're going to make an add-on specifically that points to our pipe, and we're going to add an inflation factor to the material cost of our pipe. Click F4 or the totals icon on the toolbar from your spreadsheet and take a moment and adjust the totals page so that the pricing rows and columns are visible to you. We're going to build a one-time add-on. This is an add-on that will exist only in your estimate. It's not part of the database. And to do that, we'll right-click below, one row below where we want the add-on placed. In our case, we want it between design contingency and the subtotal. So we'll right-click on the subtotal and choose Insert One-Time Add-on.
Adding one-time add-on box opens.
We'll accept the default item number, and our add-on description will be Material Inflation Adjustment. The driver of the one-time or the add-on template is the field we know as cost basis, and it's here we can use the pull-down tab and choose the various methods of attaching costs to pieces or parts of our spreadsheet. We're not obligated to mark up the entire spreadsheet. We can mark up specific parts of it. In our case, because we only want to touch the material cost, we're going to choose with the default category. When we do that, in the selection box, we have the 5 cost categories available to us. Since we only want material, we're going to check the box next to material. Additionally, we want to select a range of phases. Since we only want to mark up the pipe, we're going to choose to limit the add-on calculation to a specific phase. In our case, it's the 3311.1313. We need to pack the beginning part of the phase with 11 spaces. So start by typing 11 spaces and then type 3331.1313. Now you can type that in the to column as well, or as I'm doing, you can copy paste it. You want to make sure in the rate box that you've selected percent. We'll use a 10% inflation adjustment here. And when you've completed that, make sure you click the allocatable box. This will give you the opportunity in a report to show the costs not on the totals page, but it will actually prorate this cost back across the items, or in our case item, that the price was generated from, so we can show the increased cost in the unit price in the spreadsheet in a report if we choose to. Click OK.
Add-on information dialog box.
And notice that the add-on amount will be calculated when you click OK in the totals window. That's not this OK. This OK clears the message It's this OK they're talking about in the totals window. When we click it here, we should see our price increase here.
Clicks OK at lower right. Price increases on left.
And there's your 10% increase for inflation pointed only to your cast iron pipe. We'll continue to adjust our add-on factors. We'll add a totals page note here, clicking the note button, and we're going to lower our profit.
Types in totals notes box, profit lowered to match expected results.
We think when this job goes out to bid that we'll get slightly better pricing than the default. We'll click OK to save the note, and rather than the standard 12% profit, we're going to lower that to 4%. You can adjust the percentages here, as you see, or you can directly type into a dollar field. In this case, we'll take the design contingency and lower it to $5,000. And that will back calculate the contingency percentage. So you can either adjust the percentage or type directly into the dollar amount. We'll click OK to accept our changes and close to return to the spreadsheet. Pause the recording and perform Section 4, Activity 7 in the Advanced CESS Workshop Manual. Activity 8. Modify item quantities using Review Assembly. In this activity, we're going to reflect a change in the plans. There's been a modification to the trench depth. And rather than working from the spreadsheet and trying to do a complicated system of adjustments to quantities we've already built up through assembly passes, we'll use a feature called Review Assembly to easily make a modification to our quantity takeoff.
Clicks Assembly tab at bottom.
We'll change the sequence view of our spreadsheet to Assembly. We'll right-click on the Assembly overline and select Review Assembly. We found that in Pass 4, where we had entered a trench depth of 6, we now need a trench depth of 5.5. So with focus on Pass 4, we'll type 5.5 and then click the Replace Pass button, not the Add Pass button. It's next door, Replace Pass.
Right of purple add.
Now you might expect to see your original 5 passes plus a new Pass 6 for the Replace Pass. But in fact, when you hit Replace Pass, you get passes 6 and 7. And let's take a look at how these Replace Passes function. If we go back to Pass 4, we'll notice our original quantity of 1, our original length, and our original depth. The system has added a note here, less than and greater than, you know that's supplied by the system, that the pass has been replaced by Pass 7, not by Pass 6. If we look at Pass 6, note that the quantity has been changed to -1, and this is what we call the reversing pass. And there's a note here, reversing Pass 4, with the same variable entries you made for Pass 4. So 4 and 6 taken together equals 0 in terms of the effect they have on quantity. This is reversed Pass 4, Pass 6 has. It's Pass 7 that's the replacing pass. And here the quantities return to 1, and here's where the new depth is put in, and it's these variables that are now applied to the assembly quantities you see here. We'll click on Pass 5, and we'll change the depth here to 5.5, and we'll click Replace Pass. And now we have passes 8 and 9. 8 is reversing pass, 9 is replacing Pass 5. Click OK to accept the changes. Click Close to return to the spreadsheet. Pause the recording and perform Section 4, Activity 8 in the Advanced CESS Workshop Manual. Activity 9. modify the bill of materials report. Return to the phase item sequence, and from the Reports menu, select Bill of Materials and navigate over again to Bill of Materials. Now, the first time you set your reports up, you'll want to go to Report Options for any particular report type and complete some basic printing options. So from this dialog, we'll start by clicking the big button, Report Options. We'll click the Sort tab, and from Available Sorts, we're going to add Phase Item to the list of hierarchy, and we'll place Phase Item on top using the Priority button.
Up arrow.
Verify that Summary Level stays to Detail and New Page for Each stays None. Now, if this is your first time in this particular report, it's advisable to go to the Page Setup tab and put in some minimal margins. And in Fit 2, we almost always want to make sure we limit the printing to one page wide. We don't want to spread the report across pages wide. Pages tall typically remains blank. We let it waterfall in terms of the number of pages, but we don't want to have multiple pages in width if we can help it. In the activities, when we say print, we're actually going to preview. We don't need to print anything in the activities. We're just going to preview. So we'll click the preview button, and notice that by phase, your bedding here and then your pipe, your material items are displayed with their quantities and the order quantity. Both the takeoff and the order quantity are developed here, along with the unit price and then the extension, showing material only. Close the preview, and if the report is in a state that you like, you have the ability to save report layouts the same way we saved spreadsheet layouts. And you'll do that by clicking lower right the Save Layout button, and starting with your initials, name it BOM, B of Materials, by phase. Click OK. Now that adds this layout. All the defaults that you've chosen here are added to that named Managed Report layout. So if I click Close, the next time I want that report, I'll go back to Reports. I've got to find Bill of Materials and Bill of Materials again. But once I do that, my named report is listed here in the pull down, and I simply have to select the one I want, hit Preview. I get exactly the same report. Pause the recording and perform Section 4, Activity 9 in the Advanced CESS Workshop Manual. Activity 10. Export Reports.
7th option from left.
We'll return to Reports, Bill of Material, Bill of Materials Report.
Bill of Materials box opens.
Select our Bill of Material by Phase report, and this time we're going to choose Export. When we click the Export button, from the Export dialog, we'll have a choice of file types to choose from. We can export as a PDF. We can use the pull-down tab and choose to export as Excel. Your estimate name will be defaulted as the file name. Note the location of where the report, the exported report, will be placed. This is desktop, not on your desktop, but desktop on the server. We'll click Save. Now, to get the report and to pull it down to your local environment, you go back to Reports, Bill of Material, Bill of Materials, click the Export button again to access the same location. In our case, it was desktop, and you can scroll and find your deliverable, right-click on it, and so these locations don't get cluttered up. Go ahead and use Cut rather than Copy, and cut it out of that location. Find a spot on your desktop, and you right-click on your local desktop and paste it. Pause the recording and perform Section 4, Activity 10 in the Advanced CESS Workshop Manual. Activity 11. Experiment with other reports. Back to the Reports menu and select Standard Estimate. Again, the first time you choose a new report, you'll want to go to Report Options and set the defaults for that report. In this case, I don't want to show unit costs, I just want to show the category totals. I will print a cover page, I will print estimate totals, and I'd like the totals to be on a separate page. I'll go ahead and sort and accept the default group and phase. Remember that if you've set your estimate up using WBS like we did with the Trails estimate, you could use your Trails ID here. Page setup will allow you to choose landscape. Landscape is a favorite in CESS because of the amount of information you can get. Fit to 1, as we mentioned, is typical, with pages tall being blank. Also using larger paper if you choose. We'll go ahead here and preview.
Second button down on right.
There's our cover page. Our 5 cost categories are displayed along with the total of the cost categories. We have a hierarchy of group and then phase, and under phase we have the individual items with totals for every phase and totals for every group.
Clicks next page at upper left.
Last page will be the totals page showing your add-ons. And if you've chosen to, you can allocate your add-on. In our case, our inflation adjustment, our design contingency, and so on don't have to be shown on the totals page. They can be allocated or prorated and applied to the unit prices within our spreadsheet. Notice that any of our allocated add-ons now are not showing on the spreadsheet. The costs are still there, the estimate is still the same total, but the costs are shown here and reflected in the dollar amount shown in the spreadsheet itself. Pause the recording and perform Section 4, Activity 11 in the Advanced CESS Workshop Manual.